Yawe ole pilo chiponin rainin nga parchonale Anita tuming Iban it ko ba do pensioni am reserva rain me echerba lilo sped department nilo Springdale school karay ne very per Tara Harshaw ina jito wain kajit gani chat kachito ko ene juwagi jongo dan marong ine bar kachung ugoti wai. So we're very fortunate to have with us Tara Harshaw from the special ed department, and she's going to, we're going to be talking, I'll be asking her some questions and she'll be giving me some answers that pertains to the COVID-19 of the students that are in SPEC. Okay, go right ahead.
Good afternoon. I'm so glad to be here to try to help ease some anxiety and nervousness that you might have with your students starting the new school year. I don't have all the answers, but I have maybe some answers for you. And if you need more answers or need to contact the special education office, we will be happy to help you walk through this process.
Okay, no dan karain pa ini. Perjin ngan cibang wak cabarot kacu to koin kacut gini gicen nangan mejin kap cabalak langan cugul mejelat ajri ren pelus ped emene kacu yang wak congan odan marong ngai orani kacu to capar eligligin kole to bal meni mere peri. Okay, so we're gonna start off with our questions, and the first question is, will a safe environment like transportation and classroom be provided for students?
Yes, ma'am. Our transportation department is working now on getting bus routes ready for our students. If we are encouraging parents, if they can, the safest way to get their student to school would be for them to transport if possible. If it's not possible, buses will still run. The big buses will run, and we have the specialized transportation buses for our students who may be medically fragile and ride those buses. The buses will be cleaned after each route. Mm-hmm. We have kids that come and go all day long, and so after each route and each group of kids is dropped off or individual child is dropped off, those buses will be cleaned. Classrooms will be cleaned a lot more frequently than what they normally are. It won't just be at the end of the day or in the morning before school starts. They will be cleaned throughout the day as well, to try to make sure that we keep exposure to COVID down as much as possible.
Thank you. Imeno dagar lelo kachi dagin ngan karini juba. Ene jige wor chigin eome eze ibim wajala ga manangan ne jajuri rain. Eno yalan ledo ledager chen chugulum ngan chugul koba kilaj room go air muaga ne bai ene jemma jige jala gair karrewi kilaj room ga ina iram kaboje eban chono dale na gane langal ko jin chuana le ne paraino dilo yal rebo jangan ledo ledag yalair ela tada jiri rein merache merwen yamma gdu gancet udam ay go iter mere jay wichibang paji gen rakaer ki jom kachu adal ngan maka mer pogir janna bjin maka par korolir ela balangan ne save kom letal wa winer ne ledo ledag rein ngan chugul gap chen chugul imelap tada klaj rumay rel gunne je reol ko jan trego mo danganer kachiong paidi COVID-19 in makajoje chelmay raini. Thank you. And the second question is, will masks be provided for special ed students? And what about students who for other health related reasons are not able to wear masks? What about social distancing?
Right now, teachers are working on planning their classrooms to accommodate social distancing and keeping those spaces between students as much as possible. The masks are provided for students. There will be 2 per each student in the district. Some students will be given the buff that goes around the neck, and that will help some of our students from just taking them off and laying them down. And some will receive masks, some will receive both. And the students who, for health reasons, sensory reasons, for whatever, can't wear masks, we understand that. There are going to be some of those students, and we will work with them as best we can. We will, if they can even wear a mask for 10 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, you know, that will be awesome. But if they can't, they can't. And we get that, and we understand that. We expect that. There may be times that some of our students, if they have speech services or they are being evaluated for special education services, may have shields, because the teachers need to see their mouths and interact with them that way. Teachers will always have their masks on. The aides, paraprofessionals in the classroom will have their masks on. So we are expecting some kids to have difficulties with that, and that's okay. We will just deal with it, and the kids will do what they can, and if they can't, that's all right.
Kachidagan ken karo yar kachidag penay ba rane jaga lelok mask ko ngan rujugo ro ilo special ed rujugo ro me orai nang ni mijugo rechawai with kanak mask ak yigichen social distancing akada ko ay rujandron taweno dan kali karilo ole nganchon rujugo lo yen ga rajalo ro mask nganchon rujugo ngan kajarbale Raban pajak kana wat par mask rujugo rain lo speda ga par ga gi rain air rane par kalagi mask kainum rane charwali pera lap tata ri rain chadme reche merong kana ngana gi mask kain air ngadiumin wali mem chongol minute ga elgun payala ga jena air jap kana ga aga ebar wor chuan meno rejle to ngan imre kalagi lo purwer merong par pineje ije laguna dan mask kain air bar ranjab luji aga jap per pachig yung table kaya right pero dilo purweram right leleng takotam kabare podirum lang here para inuot ne chibang yer lagajan mo kata rain right charbalin ragi rain air ko ba par per professional rain me ray par charbali pero jene chibang ronem para ino rene para kanak mask awale ben rain right charbali pan rigure yimene me ray face shield amena me kapare man mejayer berencap narongin contact caparewat rugagi rencap marane jago di value di ajari rein me rajago di lale long year kabala long year beren lale kilenair pronounce nadim menegin waja warane bar kajar balik face shield. Okay, on to our third question. How do I know if distancing learning is better for my special education student?
Well, it's a very individual choice, and it's going to depend on the student and a lot on student needs. Of course, we would love for everybody to be able to come back in person, but we understand that may not be a happening thing for some parents. We understand that students may have some medical issues that they can't come back, or they may have someone in the home who has medical issues that they can't risk being exposed to. And so those students, for those students, the distance learning, the virtual through School of Innovation would probably be the best choice for a parent to make. It looks very different from what if a student goes into school. It will all be virtual. The student will get lessons virtually over the computer, and the teacher will present things virtually over the computer. The students will be assigned a teacher from virtual. They will also be assigned a special education teacher that will help them as needed. Contact with these people will be through Zooms, through emails, Google Classrooms, Google Meet. Everything will be virtual. The good thing about virtual for some families is that they can access that at any time. If they have to wait until Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, or 6 o'clock at night after somebody gets off work, then they can do that. They are not limited to a 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock time schedule. They are able to do that, and they can contact teachers. They will have office hours, and so they can contact them and Zoom like what we're doing and talk to them as far as finding out what student needs to be able to be successful in that virtual classroom.
Kachidage ugiya ba yewi wawi na chala nge an chugul an ajrio ne chugul den barchuan chigin yilagun mun chugul go emalak ngane eweekarangan nganuwa kachidage ngai ba orcha da ajri emalak ngarane perilo chigin chugul mrane charbal lale tayo emmantada emchet enge orar mi jorone angin mi jilo moya wa ene kawda dangane rilo air dongan chugul impart edalangan mo ramaron pola nangan mingane regamene agaranya po malang ranet polen perilo program reba virtual o me rechugul pero dilo mo mo orchuane orchedro recharbali pera no ragi rojan manchugul go ragi pero mene charbali payer ranet tabari rilo ole benina igujige inaire me mano chuane ge rala chugul jan mo ramaron kamani kata kina rilo Zoom agilo email hilo parwawin ge incha me ramaron tabari rilo online em rabe ibro rolangan air tabaram ramaron kaman air kata gilo ngarbai kala ben charere aga chapa daga chode nga mujin chugul flexible ge raban duguna igujin perilo yene am awai emerju rabe chugul rabe barchar bale karangan schedule go airum rome rikke barwer aga anganu wa kachidagin engeme ba oleven option gaini memang raja gamene memang lang rebelo chigin chugo akana bang kain chadage me jaga maja kali kari ewe epelena malang rane chugo virtual aga perilo mo merum ugi kata kain air jane emang or kachidagum chaparewa de chap eligiligin kali karangan ubijin. Okay. Moving on to our fourth question is, how does distance learning affect SPED learning?
Well, students have to get used to not having that person, right there with them. And that is the biggest difference is when we're face-to-face and we're in person, kids get used to having the teacher or the paraprofessional or even their friends, there to help them. And the distance learning, it doesn't have that relationship factor. And that's a big deal. It's a big deal for our kids. It's a big deal for our teachers. And that's the most, what's affected the most as far as their IEP. We still meet their IEP, we still meet their goals and objectives and work on those things. It's just not in person. And, not in person is different, and it keeps us from making those connections with people.
Yes. Kachidagi nigar kachidagi bay we na net pugi kada ko jan bar chuan chigin chelede air pukada kineraga eno kada jin chuan chigin eno di mo muir emman tada euin kanaga reminene eno air la peldos pedage chuan or connection you got iron brugagi air reminene kan sering me or chuan chibang iram charbali per net pulen bene orei naga parchuan alene chalak rene promenya ne karko win borenje merong charbali pen rein me magidi charbali per aga kia parilo chuan wawen em mane por reberi lo kabijugunenem error mama papa ror merong parchibang erilo kabijugunene rene chibang ergan olben menina igujige naira kata kenair IEP na air energy valore tagore kamani ilo chigin chugu rene valore tagore kamani ilo kabijugunene anak jadi ilo ay lori IEP na yan rejugurame. Okay, the next question, if students are at school, is there a difference in special ed compared to the past?
As far as what they're getting, according to their IEP, there won't be. Their IEP will still be served as it's written, and it needs to be amended and changed. It will still be amended and changed when things are needed. Physically, it will look different because students there, we will be trying to socially distance students, and it may look different for students when they go to have things such as library or media library day or PE or art. Things are going to be very different there. But as far as meeting their IEPs and their academics, that will be the same as it would be if we know COVID.
Kachilagin garwang rigu roranet perilo chicken chugul energy orugodak ilo air pello special education caring and mogala eman lugun woro ogodak enodan karain power renej bar lori wada chata ko lori ilo IEP o air renej bar lori ilo air ekata kilo mugumir pilenne jogodak yo rein ka ngeba wanchong gilo adne jadang library roman lukune bagero no that chalagara pello chugul ngerbait edalilo wawanin merret pogeot kilaje kay airilo chugul rene pandupun ebage ronilo air chibangir borenya ay wujung lore guideline gain ngan kadana armit ngandron. Okay, now the next question. Will IEP or the 504 be impacted by distance learning?
It will be impacted somewhat because students won't be getting that in person, face-to-face, right there beside them help that they're used to getting in the classroom. But they will still be getting those services, whatever their IEP says or their 504 plan says, they will still be getting that and working on the goals and objectives that are in both. But again, it's all virtual, so there won't be any of that face-to-face as far as physical contact with the teachers, either their virtual teacher or their special education teacher.
Kachilagin ba IEP ka 504 kata kergi ilos pet rana jiga chele de ilongane kata ganyan barchuan chigina ilo kabijungna neo chala ko da kano dan karain pa eno dair ne jagar par kata gilo chingin chugul rala par perilo kabijungna ko ayra makada rana ba lore chaba par element guideline gainod marbello IEP na irom enet pulen ogdagala chirig barracha bulukun ebage ragi reina ram kada gano da karmota aga wage wan kachidagin eban lukun laban chelate air kada ganyan kabijumunen ko air. The next question, what does blended learning look like for a special ed student?
Okay, blended learning is one of the options that parents can request for their student. Student will either go on Tuesdays and Thursdays and be home Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or they will go to school Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and be home Tuesdays and Thursdays. During the time that they are home, it's asynchronous learning, which means that the student will be on their own. The teachers will, during the time that they are in the classroom, the teachers will assign them lessons and homework and things to work on. And then during the time that they are at home, they will be expected to go through and work on these kind of things while they're home. When they're home, this is probably when, if they receive speech services or occupational services or physical therapy services, that will be the time that they will probably receive those services virtually, because when the students are here in class, we want them working on academics as much as possible. So it depends on how many days they have to do virtual, depends on or remote learning depends upon whether they choose Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay. Kachita ko ba ewi wawe nan blended learning aga air kata chukul chadran mo chukul chadrani lo chicken chuguleo ewi wawe nan nechele churujulo pelos pet ewe wage via ngerane blended eno darro melele blended melele chedian rene chugul ngago bekale be ren chugulilo mon chugul go mandre wonche palaire ewe chujem taije rene chugul jan mayo anger ko gale do ren chugul lo mon chugul go chujem taije e warane chugul komunikata kwair jan mo ilo mandre wanche palaire polen enodan karain kamlele irane pa loro at oliven guideline gain rilo air charbal janai pi nair oliven kada kain rene kamanilo kabijunen kabilo chikin chugo aga ngai dongan polen idongan yan menge pa speech aga occupational therapy aga idongan physical therapy ngarajai wiji menagain kia pulene ni jamal ngarane kamanilo kabijunen aga ragi rainair Reji bangair kan academic kata kome rajai wujin pugim peji karangan kada lain genchen stay dinar. Yang majogo tagayuri. Our next question is, how do I know if my students' modifications or accommodations are being applied if they are doing virtual classes? Who do I contact if I have questions about my students' IEP at SO IDT?
Each student's going to be assigned a teacher. They'll have a teacher for each class that they have. And so any questions that a parent has about the work that the student's doing or student progress or accommodations or modifications should be addressed to that teacher. They can do it through email or a Zoom or Google Classroom, Google Meet. And if they are, if they talk to the teacher and they don't feel like the student's making progress in that classroom, then they can also contact their special education teacher. And the special education teacher will work with the parent and the general education teacher to make sure that the modifications and accommodations are being put in place for each student.
Okay. Kachidago igar kachidagin penejba. Ewi we na ne chalagan ugo daga karko rene lilong na jurio ne juyalang na kilaj kilo meja todo online. Parchuanale nelang ne ene kalat option in when kilajilo oliven kabijune ne gamoy rene pa sign ila ko chuanan richi banga radio manager parcharbali pen 1-1 errong andronum Ebiro logan ne jatan ajrin pok cibang pekan gaya road ini me cibang charbali penron igicien ugo kotagin kamano kotagilo IP modification malben men gay nigay rane jay gujun kanono penarme jo charbali pen ene kanono pen ragin spedewan inem lama rane bar tabarrin me leng la kamera jelo ko menina guj bar kamano kotagilo oliven IEP anum taga me jay wiji wen kamano ko tagi iloan pello klajin. The next one, if students go virtual, how does that affect, oh, I'm sorry, I did that already. Will students have an opportunity to meet their teachers, to visit their school before the first day of classes?
I believe that the schools are actually setting up meeting times for kids now. I saw some information on the school website. I saw some information on individual school Facebook pages that they are setting up different times for kids to come in and look around and meet their teachers and just kind of get familiar with the school. That's really important for the kiddos who are going from elementary to middle school, or middle school to junior high to high school, because they're not familiar, with those buildings, and they need to know where everything is. So I would check, Facebook pages or the school website. And if you don't, if they're not out there and the school hasn't posted it, call the school office and double check for times when people can go, because it's important for the kids to be able to see where they're going and who their teachers are.
Okay. Kachidago yar kachida kieba ene jaga worgen andru jugo royon ragi roair alola chugul wair ragael modajan raneo chinon tada eji chino kilai Kejala boy modajan chugul ekair kijong kamani yen ngana jiri ra lola modak chugul wair emla midi ragi reinair midi rein merane charbal ipeir la chen barret edalin lale elap tada ngere jabal karu jalojan elementary raja talangan middle school achen middle school ngan junior achen junior ngan high school ngai kaya building or raja tan chugule emala ngai talem ne jene be joro di na talem chala kachin rgagi re na ram kap chugul gain em raja ne pallo Facebook page gana em rene pallo media gana be rekanane geriniana rene media ranta kabawata Ramarong talim lolok chugul gain me jene je pat orodian ngadua kachidagin rajane be kamanodian nganair tabarajiri re na ole peren chala ya gore jabalamani. The other question is what questions can parents ask teachers to get feedback on their students' academic progress for virtual?
Okay. Once again, whoever their assigned teacher is should be able to give them some answers as far as how their child is doing and in the classroom. And that's when parents can ask them, what type of accommodations and modifications that are being made for them. They can also ask their special education teacher that they're assigned to, what kind of progress that the student is making toward their goals and objectives and just toward the academic expectations for their grade level in general. And that is just to keep if you're not getting the answers that you need, keep asking the questions. Mm-hmm. If your teacher's not giving you answers and your special education teacher's not giving you answers, contact your building administrators at Virtual and School of Innovation. Dr. Shay Hopper is over the virtual program at School of Innovation, and Kelly Bortz is the principal at School of Innovation. Or you can always call our office. There will be someone here to help you to try to get the answers that you are looking for.
Anwa kachi mata kachi do ko peron ro maron kachi do di penrga gi roer anai lali gi chenan rigulio erreglo gi lokata koan chabro di najiri rein najir mere perilos per programin cheni ngan ge banchaboran mama papa ro kachi do jab eligligin ka pudo kachi do koam Pues chalo chuan kachu the gaper. Chabro the mene kwa jalo imagirio ne jimait kamane ilam observe logo. Emayana I wichi bang ene I wichi bang lo area kwa jalo polen rugagi rayan rai wichar balipen lo area jabuya. Jabali giligan kulog rilo virtual ga ngai administrator ranilo Town Tyson School of Innovation ijana merele virtual learning kada kilo me jato Komeron bertabarir rein merecer balijan aga tabar ngeko jap tabar administrator re adal ngani bar re merecer bali penspet ilo chugulenam kachi the payer chabarot kachi the go very pampo ini ayala bin go koncha bayali in kwala tago re very lo purwom akaji the ginar mi rein me ko jala ge rene lewa juwa ngani e chala chuan kachi the geber ngeko ne pagli dam pai che bai wujin kachi de wachadian gajiri rein nejir roban lukun kwala kachi de kwara ta dang re pelu programin e pokej peron rongan lukun chale aini gerum kamnu ge di per pokon marungna ta reje kachi de kwam ngan rein metalaw yelo chugo rein. Okay, these are all the questions that I had for you this morning. If is there anything else that you feel maybe the parents need to be aware of?
I think that covered. I mean, that covers a lot. I know people are nervous. I know they're scared, and I would just like for them to know that safety for students is our first top priority, and then meeting the needs on their IEP is our also another priority, and we are going to do our very best to make this a successful school year, whatever it turns out to look like.
Yes, and thank you. And then karain padokoy kanane wairin baron charbalim cibang ole ba ajiri rein nejiri lo chabrot wa weni or remarong chap eligig mijagin kachida per barane charwali perum kader chone der merong lore IEP individual education planning me karangan wala kacho jorri gure re perilos per im charwali per gage chone no der merong re rangan per rendu pun par se bilo air dogum chugulu per ngarane perilo iman chugulu go agi jala gala balo air ne par se bilo ay ne par peripen mama papa ro Rajango taole pengayor kachida gen cakar jap kabarilo kanono inilo chiponin rainin ego chabali ligin podo kachida gamangan I pen principal reina rijar rain. Okay. Well, thank you very much and
Thank you. And please let us know if we can do anything else to help.
okay, I will.
Thanks.
Paria ole pomol.